Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at the Church of Awesome. Okay, so today's video is going to be about vibrations. If you're aware of the basics, I should say, of vibration and physics. Now, I shouldn't even use the word physics because it's really simple. All the atoms, electrons, molecules, particles are moving at a really high rate. They're vibrating, they're moving, they're spinning at a really, really high rate. So go ahead and listen to what this guy has to say, and then I'm going to come back and talk a bit.
It basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought.
Okay, so what he's saying is your vibration attracts other, I don't want to just say people, because it's not just people. It could be animals, it could be birds, it could be whatever. Whatever energy that you're vibrating at attracts the same vibration. Now, I do not mean mystically, magically, deliciously. I literally mean Western, left brain, logical science. I'm talking about actual vibrations, actual atoms, electrons, and particles. So the more I began to understand this stuff, so I'm not a physicist myself. I did go to college, I studied science, I took a couple science classes, one physics class, and over the years, take a 5-week NLP training, they talked about physics quite a bit, and there was one person there in that class that was a physicist with his doctorate degree, and he confirmed everything Dr. Tad James was talking about, how this affects emotions and vibrations affect your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your wavelengths, okay? So there's another thing I began to realize and learn is that different emotions carry different energies, or another way of saying that is vibrations. Now, at the time when I was learning this, I thought, I just thought it was something they made up, or like that's something they believed. When they're like, no, this is actual physics. This is actual vibrational energy. So I've done a lot of emotional healing, energy healing, energy clearing, and as I began to clear stuff, I wouldn't say it was like the first 6 months of the first year, but as the years went by, I kept doing more and more and more and more energy healing, and all of a sudden I started feeling different levels of emotions, and all of a sudden the old negative, guilt and shame and all that stuff started to fall off. The fear started to fall off, and I began to attract better people. And less bad things happened to me. Things started to smooth out over a period of time. I also noticed I didn't catch it for the longest time. I noticed like I started walking away from certain people just before they even said hello. I just, in a store, I could feel this energy. And then one day it's like, wow, I noticed, the cashier one day said, I noticed every time some people walk in, you just walk away. You like walk down the aisle. I'm like, really? He goes, you haven't noticed something? I'm like, man, he goes, we'll be in the middle of a conversation and you just boom, you're gone. You don't even say anything. I'm like, oh. See, that's my energy being repelled by that other energy now. Whereas before, I was kind of on that wavelength. That's embarrassing to say, but I interacted with those people. I engaged with those people, and I always had all these problems and I couldn't figure out why. So as you look at this chart here, you begin to notice that energy such as peace, purpose, love, joy, enlightenment, it's a higher vibrational level or energy because there's less and less resistance. So therefore the energy literally just begins to flow. And it leaves you feeling very comfortable, and the key word here is content. Now, there's a reason why I bring that word up, content, is because everything we do in life ends in contentment, and I'm going to explain it in a little bit, so I'll be right back to that. One thing I would like to say about that is contentment is just very peaceful. So look at the very top, 600 and then 700, enlightenment. There's a sense of relaxation and comfort, and it just feels really, really good. And guess what? The number one thing I specialize in. Contentment, because it's what everybody ends up truly wanting, and I'll explain that in a bit. So in this image here that you're about to see, this is the lowest level of energy and or connection. And yet this is where most people exist. And I mean 80+% of people on the planet, they connect forehead to forehead. It is a very draining, toxic. This causes conflict and argument and fighting. But a lot of people, oh, I'm connected forehead. No, this is not healthy. There's no freedom. This is prison. This is imprisonment. This is controlling. This is not good. So one thing I began to realize, everything that I teach people is how to connect inside. So I'll direct your energy back inside you instead of connecting forehead to forehead. So back inside you and expanding inside your heart, your chest, your stomach, your arms, your legs, and expanding around you. Because this is like opening up the valve or opening up the door so the energy can begin to flow, and now you can begin to vibrate at a higher level. The more you learn how to do this, the more you practice it, the more you begin to understand it through experience and knowing when you're in a higher level or lower level or stuck level versus being in flow. So the ultimate energy, the healthiest energy, is this right here. Well, you are in your own ball of energy. Your awareness is inside you and expands around you. This is contentment. This comes from completion. It just feels good. Now, there's something I learned in choir class in high school. I was kind of a part of it. I'm actually proud of this. It was in Napa Valley as part of a fairly, the highest ranked high school in the world in choir. Now, let me explain what I mean. So there was a competition back in the 80s, and I don't know if it's going on now, but back then only the top, I think it was either 200 or 300, maybe it was 500 schools in the world were invited, high schools in the world were invited to sing at this event in Hawaii. We walked away with a total of 5 possible gold medals. We walked away with 3 gold medals and 2 silvers. We dominated. We really, really had that good of a choir. Now, there's something that I learned in that I don't remember. I might have learned it in college choir, but I think I learned it, I think it was in high school. And we were talking about crescendos. And I forget what someone was talking about. Why don't we do more crescendos? And the teacher goes, well, it's kind of like, this might have been in my freshman year in college. I don't know. But I learned it in choir. And she said, well, crescendos are like life, or not just crescendos, but music. You start out kind of slow and you begin to build and build and build, and then it kind of goes back down. Then you begin to build and build and build and go a little bit higher, and then you slowly go back down. And then it begins to build and build, and the tension begins to build. And that's a key word, tension. And then it kind of slowly goes back down again. So it's almost like you're being teased, and you begin to build the pressure more and more, and then it starts to go back down. And then you slowly build up a little, and you begin to go up and up and up, and then you might tease, go down a little bit, and then go back up again, and then go back down again. And it teases you. And what they found with music is if they began to create tension but not give you the release, it would really keep you, engaged, like with the music, like you were really going along with it. And then eventually they would have to give you a crescendo to finally give you the release, because humans can only stand so much tension. Once you have enough tension, there's got to be a release eventually, and then you're at contentment and you feel good and you can breathe deep. And I remember during choir, once we hit that release, that crescendo at the very top, and it exploded, then it's like you could breathe and you could relax. Okay, well, here's what the teacher said. So the next step is you go back down. It's nice and peaceful and calm for a while. It just feels good, and then you begin to build some tension again, a little more, and then you come back down. You know what she said? She goes, it's literally just like sex. It's like an orgasm. Yeah, now that I think about it, it was high school. I remember all the girls laughing when she said that, and the rest of us boys, we were embarrassed. We're like, what? So that actually gave me a perspective on life, and I kind of carried that with me, and it didn't really quite hit me until I became, trained in NLP and Ericksonian hypnosis and this and this and that. And Tony Robbins was one of the people that said, look, you're not selling someone a car. You're not selling them, 4x4 truck. You're selling them an emotion. And I was like, wait, what? He goes, you're not selling them whatever the thing is that you're selling. You're selling them emotions and feelings. And then there was another technique that I learned during the NLP trainings, and it was about what's your highest purpose. Like, so right now, okay, let's do it real quick. This is something you should ask yourself in everything you do, every conversation you have, before you have it, while you're having it, everything you do, from buying mayonnaise to going to the grocery store. Like, well, what's my purpose for doing this? And then after you get the answer, go, okay, so what's my purpose for that? And then when you get the answer for that, then you go, well, what's my purpose for that? And what's my purpose for that? And all of a sudden you're in alignment. So I began to realize when you find your highest purpose, it's always contentment. Now there's something that we do called parts integration. We have two separate parts that are kind of pulling you apart in two different directions. And when you get to their highest purpose, they always have the highest purpose. And then what we begin to realize is like, oh, these two parts used to be one whole part, complete part together. And so when you integrate them, all of a sudden you have a sense of peace and tranquility, meaning contentment. The tension's gone and you feel relaxed. Again, just like having an orgasm. So when I worked through this and did this with clients enough, I began to realize everything we do in life is for contentment. The reason why they're coming to see me is they have stress and anxiety and fears, or they're stuck, or they, whatever problems they bring in. And when they resolve the problem, what do they ultimately feel emotionally? Well, they feel content. I'll give you another one. Let's say you want to buy a sports car because you want to race it around. You get that tension, you get that excitement, you get that passion, that fun. You're having fun, and then finally when you're done, you're like, oh, it just feels so good. It's like, now I own the car. I have the car. It's in my garage, and I'm driving it around. And so how do you feel now that you have the car? Oh, I feel content. You just feel good. Everything in life is a crescendo that ends up feeling contentment. Okay? Now, here's the funny thing. This leads you to manifesting whatever it is you want. See, a lot of people hold on to the feeling of not having it, and that causes the vibration of not having it, and therefore you are attracting that. That's what you're creating. You have to go beyond that, going, okay, so what if I actually owned it legally? I have the paperwork, it's my name's on the document, it's registered in my name, I've got it paid in full, and the car's in my garage, and I have the keys, like whatever it is. I don't know what it is you want. You want to be healed. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's you want a certain amount of money, okay? When you have the feeling of after having all of it, after having it for a week, a month, a year, you're like, well, I feel at peace. I feel at ease. I feel at contentment with this now. And then, boom, that's when it manifests. That's when it's created into your reality. So this is why you have to imagine having it. So if you really, really have it, you're laying down in bed, you're kind of meditating upon this, you're just imagining, you already own it. You've owned it for 3 days. You've owned it for a week. You've owned it for a month. How do you feel now that you have it? How do you feel now that you're completely healed of whatever injury that you have? That feeling is a vibration. It is an emotion. Emotions are vibrations. And that vibration, that emotion, is what creates and manifests it in your reality. This is why Jesus said, thou shalt not want. Because wanting is not having. If you are wanting, you create the vibration of wanting, which is not having. That's why Jesus said, thou shalt not want. But Christians turn that into, oh, thou shalt not want. What are you, greedy? You shouldn't want anything. You should be poor and not prosperous, even though God says to live and prosper and live abundantly and be wealthy. Don't listen to God. Listen to our mistranslation of Jesus' teachings. By the way, it wasn't a mistranslation. It was the narcissists that are in the church that want to make sure that you don't understand what's actually being taught. Now imagine if you were truly, truly abundant. Just for a moment, put everything aside. Put reality aside. Just let's play a little game here. Not a game, but let's just do an imagination thing here. If you truly were living abundantly, you had, let's say you had $100,000 coming in a week, okay, or more. Let's just say $100,000. Let's say $100,000 a day. Every day, 365 days a year. It's just nonstop. You started a business and it took off, and all of a sudden you have all this money. Maybe you have 3 businesses, and they're ran by, you hired these CEOs, chief executive officers, which have vice presidents and all that stuff, and it's being run by these people. There's so much money coming in that even though you're paying these guys $200,000 a year to run your 3 businesses, it's nothing because you are making millions a month. So here's the purpose of what I'm saying here. So imagine you have so much abundance, you don't know what to do with it. You give it away to your family, you buy people houses. You're just like, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with this. It's a ridiculous amount of money, to where you're just like, it's kind of it's unreal, to the point of, I've got so much money, I don't know what to do with it, and it's just building up in my bank accounts, and I've got tax accounts, they pay the taxes. Like I don't have to worry about anything. It's all taken care of. This is the same way I do energy healing. Imagine this person's healed, and what would it be like? Well, it would be like this. Their bones would be healed, the cancer would be gone. You know, the energy, the vibration of light, love, and healing energy from God would go into them and heal that, and they'd be replaced with like high comforting vibrational love and healing energy inside their body, and replacing all the negative cells and reinvigorating the cells with this new light, love, and healing energy from God, etc. So I heal people all the time. There is a process I go through, but essentially that's what I'm doing. But Mike, I don't believe that. Well, hold on to your belief then. Have I ever mentioned that beliefs are vibrational energy too? Because they are. This is why you really need to pick and choose your beliefs. Now, here's the purpose of this video. Contentment. You guys have got to leave me some kind of a donation for this one. This is a good video. Okay, so why is contentment so important? Because it's the completion of anything that you want, desire, and or do, including sex. Isn't it funny how everything is symbolic of everything? It's not like, well, only sex has a crescendo. Everything you do, music, saving up money to buy the car, and you, boom, what you pay for, you're like, yeah, it's literally an orgasm. Everything you do in life, including cooking food, eating food, making food, I don't care what it is, even doing the dishes. How does it feel when you completely clean the kitchen, the dishes are done, and everything is put away, and everything is just beautifully clean? You feel content. Alright, I'm going to share a little bit of something personal, maybe kind of funny. I noticed, we're going back to high school. So me and Todd and Marlon and who else was, I think even James finally got a girlfriend, okay? So 4 or 5 of us had a girlfriend. There's someone else there, I can't remember who it was. And then Kenny was kind of one of the smaller guys, but he was a really cool guy, really nice guy, just had a big smile all the time. And it was Monday morning. He walks up and he's just grinning ear from ear, and we're all looking at him like, what the hell's going on with this guy? And Todd goes, what's going on, Kenny? And he's kind of sheepishly grinning, kind of looking down. He goes, oh, nothing. And then Todd goes, oh, you got laid. And we all started laughing because it was so obvious. And so we were laughing, and we were talking. He goes, and we're like, isn't it great that you finally got over it? Because that's the thing, it was like this pressure, this experience we never had, everyone talks about. And it's like, isn't it great that you're finally over it? And he's like, yeah. He goes, man, it really is. And then he goes, but you know something that I find really weird? He goes, for years. Now, I think we were juniors or seniors. He goes, for years, no girl would even talk to me. They wouldn't even go out with me. They wouldn't go to the dance with me. Like, I couldn't get a date for the life of me. Not even like a lunch date here on campus. He goes, and now all of a sudden all these girls are talking to me, and they're touching me, and they're engaging with me in conversation, and we all went, yeah, isn't that weird? Once you get a girlfriend, now all the girls want to date you. Now that was a question that I was like, that is true, because I remember once I got a girlfriend in high school, all of a sudden all these girls appeared, and I'm like, what the hell's that all about? Well, it took me many moons and many years to figure this out. So in my 20s, I began to realize, like, oh, it's because you feel content. I was probably like 28 or so when I finally figured, when you have a girlfriend and you're not worried about being loved and you feel content emotionally and physically, and I mean sexually, all of a sudden you're not desperate. And women have this radar system. If you're desperate, if you're like uptight and you're stressed, they're not going to go out with you. They're not going to connect with you sexually. So I began to notice, like, that is the weirdest thing. Whenever I have a girlfriend, girls all of a sudden everybody wants to talk to me. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. And it's like, it's because I'm not desperate. It's not just me, but any guy, any person. And I think women that are in relationships too, men find them to be a lot more attractive because you're content. It feels good to be around that energy. Human beings want to be around that energy because it feels good. It's comfortable. So now, the key to manifesting love, romance, sex, money, healing, actual healing, is contentment. It is the end result. So when you have it, how do you feel when you actually imagine having it? Daydreaming to the point where you're riding that new bicycle or driving that new car. You feel good. You just feel contentment. That energy of feeling good is what creates it in reality. So guess what I specialize in? Contentment. The internal awareness techniques that I teach you, it takes you out of your tight ego, which causes things to spin, but it causes them to do it in a stuck small state, which is stress. You feel stuck. I teach you how to be internal, which expands your awareness, which allows your energy, literally molecules, electrons, particles, and atoms, and all that stuff to begin to expand and flow. Now your energy is in flow, and now you begin to attract what you desire. Because just like that chart, which I'll show again, when you go to the top, you begin to notice words like love, joy, peace, purpose. Those are more peaceful experiences, or more content. So when I started working with the Buddhist monks, I used to go to the temple 2-3 times a week. I would spend like 4 hours or more there. Sometimes just hanging out with the monks. Sometimes they would do energy healing on me or meditation, or they teach me a technique. Here's what happened. I always walked out just feeling like I was walking on clouds, man. And at the time, me and my girlfriend at the time, whenever we leave, we'd always, because it was about an hour and a half away, we'd always pull over to a restaurant and get a bite to eat. And every time we walked in, the whole restaurant would stop and they'd all turn and they would smile. Everybody, cashiers, customers, it could be a packed house, and boom, it just became peaceful. The third time it happened, she goes, have you noticed every time we leave Buddha Calm, wherever we go, people just like stop and they smile at us? I'm like, yeah, I know. I noticed that. And that's when I was like, oh, I have to figure out what the hell he's doing. Like, what is he doing to cause this? So I started paying attention to what he was doing when we first would meet him, how he would connect with us. And I figured it out because of something that I learned in that 5-week training in Hawaii, that we learned about expanding our awareness. So I'm like, oh, I get it. He's connecting with our energy at our level, and then he's slowly expanding open more and more and more, and we begin to follow. So there's a combination of understanding how to do rapport techniques and expanding your awareness, etc., etc. So I was like, so here's what I do. Okay, if you've worked with me as a client, you've had this experience. If I got to talk to you on the phone more than 45 minutes to an hour, all of a sudden you called me all stressed and worried, and like a lot of you've called me at the worst times in your life, and you're like an hour and 15 minutes later, man, I feel really good. Now here's the deal. I would bet $10 right now, hell, I've even bet $20, that before you came to this video, you were not in this vibe. You may not have necessarily been in a bad vibe, but I would bet $20 that you feel a lot better right now. I have a feeling you feel a lot more content and more relaxed, and just you emotionally feel better inside. So one of the goals that I have, or the outcome that I have in mind whenever I work for someone or work with someone, is to find out where they at and where do they want to go. What outcome is it that they want to experience or have in reality? And then I take you down that path using a series of techniques and et cetera, to get you there. And by being in that space, all of a sudden things begin to open up for you. So here's the thing, as you begin to learn these internal awareness techniques, you begin to learn to connect with yourself, and you find yourself in this, just another word for contentment is emotionally grounded space. You begin to understand this better. Life begins to fall into place. Things begin to fall into place all by themselves, because all you're doing is opening up. It's kind of like that game Tetris, where things can now fall down into space or into place. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and as always, please go ahead and leave a donation. There's a PayPal link right down there in the description box, or we now have a new, if you click the three dots to the bottom right, there's a little heart thing that'll pop up with a $sign in it. If you want, you can make a donation that way too. Here's an offer I'm going to make you. So to the end of October, and let's say the first week of November, so that's my birthday, the first week, I will offer you $75 if you just want to do a one session just to experience what it's like with me, or if you worked with me in the past and you have an issue that you want to deal with, we'll do it for $75, okay? That's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.